Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. And we'll get to how the moderators treated Harris because I feel like it was very unfair to Harris. But at the same time, hopefully this was a situation where it's like just give him the rope to hang himself, because I've seen a lot of conservative commentators talking about how Trump lost that debate. Like Ben Shapiro straight up said Harris won the debate. He was retweeting a lot of other conservative people that were saying the same thing. So yeah. Naramda puts, I liked the questions. The questions were good. That's not the issue. We'll get to the issue. We're still in the segment that I'm going to cut out for random chit chat later. So
the moderators did seem to do a very good job of making sure that they pressed both candidates with questions. Yes. And it was interesting to me how often when a question would be posed to Harris, she had an immediate response. To quote Trump, it sounded like she knew the questions. No,
she's just competent.
But when
Plow King says Alf is the only alien I know that eats cats.
When they pressed Trump on a question, his response almost always was the default of dodge. He would try to slip away from it. Okay. He was directly.
She dodged a lot of questions too.
I'm not saying that she didn't.
But his dodges were always, but brown people, though, there's a lot of them, and I don't like them.
So he was asked about whether or not it would be good for Ukraine to win the war, if that was in the United States' best interest. And Trump would only say,
I want the war to end.
I want the war to end, or the war would have never started if I was president.
Okay. This counts as a segment into our talking about the debate segment, because I have a clip for that. Maybe we should have gone in order. Where are we? What were we talking about? The Ukraine.
Do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
Yeah, so he can't say, yes, I want Ukraine to win.
He won't say it's okay for Ukraine to survive as a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
That's what he will not say.
He is refusing to say Ukraine has a right to exist. I mean, to be fair, he would probably also refuse to say that Palestine has a right to exist.
Yeah.
I didn't really like Harris's answer from Palestine, but I recognize that was the intelligent thing to say to appeal to more people.
Yeah,
and
I do appreciate
that she explicitly said she is pushing for a two-state solution.
I was glad that she followed up with that, because when she was asked about Israel and Palestine, the first thing she said was that kind of peeved me off was when she said that this started on October 7th. And I'm like,
no, it's been going on for a while.
Didn't. This has been happening for a very long time.
And then using the horrible things that happened on October 7th as kind of not really, she didn't come out and explicitly justify the bombing of hospitals and stuff, but that was the implication of what she was saying. She pivoted to Iran because that Israel defending itself from Iran is a lot less controversial than them fighting with Palestine. So yeah, it wasn't a great answer from I believe Palestinian people have the right to exist perspective.
Yeah.
Because realistically,
if we're looking at it from the perspective of what a random lackadaisical voter is looking at, right? Because what the point of the debate is not to energize the Democrats or energize the Republicans. I firmly believe the point of the debate is to take the 8% of undecideds and push them in one direction or the other.
Yeah,
that was the correct response to give to that 8% that is in the middle that doesn't know where they're going to go. I think that was the right response. I also don't agree with it.
Yeah, no, but also realistically, I've said it a million times on this channel before, I will continue to say it. When it comes to voting in American elections, you send your message with the primary vote. You vote for the most progressive candidate in the primary, and that's how you send the message. But then when it comes down to it, you vote for the lesser of two evils. You're not going to fully agree with anyone. Yes, genocide is a huge issue that like should be a line that does not get crossed. But like realistically, the United States is not going to sever their support from Israel no matter who is elected. Even if he got Bernie Sanders in office when he was running, Israel would still have America's support. That's just a thing that is going to continue to happen for the foreseeable future.
And Israel's going to continue to have that support from America and this is a very cold-hearted reason, but this is from the mouths of people within the Republican Party, even if some of it's been hush. They will continue to be supported by the United States for two reasons. The unsaid reason is the conspiratorial. We need Israel to be a nation because
that's how we bring about the end of the world.
The seventh mountain says that's how it has to happen. But the other reason that a Republican is going to be willing to say is that Israel's a trade partner of us, like flat out. Israel is a trade partner of the United States, and we are a hyper-capitalist nation.
Yeah.
We are always going to protect and facilitate good relationships with our trade partners before anybody else. And unfortunately, when it comes to Palestine, there's not really any exports that America cares about there. And so it's you always have to grapple with Palestine as an emotional issue, which is a good, grappling with the morals and ethics of Palestine is a good thing. That is a great thing. But when you're getting a bunch of people who are heartless and only care about number crunching in politics, those people are going to look at these two nations in terms of what they are worth for the American dollar. And that sucks. It is one of the major failures of capitalism. But it is also a reality we have to grapple with if we are going to talk about Israel and Palestine and like the right-wing voter who cares more about numbers on an economics board than people dying in the streets.
Yeah. Now, okay. So now that we've gotten the negatives from her, because like really her answer on Israel was the only negative from her for the whole night. Pretty much everything.
There was another one I felt was a negative. It was at the very beginning of the debate when they were talking about housing and the homelessness crisis in the United States. The way that she addressed that was to say that there weren't enough houses, which is factually incorrect.
I must, that one slipped by me. I didn't notice that on my first or second watch through.
It was at the very beginning of the debate. It was when housing was talked about, she specifically said that we just needed to build more houses. We needed more houses for people. The thing is, with the United States, we have enough.
We need price controls.
The houses are not affordable for anybody. It's a twofold issue. The houses are not affordable for anyone, which is the first problem. The second problem is the housing that does exist, if it is not on the market, it is an Airbnb. It is some kind of money-making mechanism for someone somewhere, as opposed to a place for somebody to live. So that's the problem with the housing market.
I actually find it crazy. So the house that I'm in right now, almost no mortgage. Like relative to what housing prices are right now, like my mortgage is like $60,000. It's nothing. And so in this house that with the like I fucking bought it for $120,000 and it's like in current market prices worth like probably around 500,000-600,000. I don't know, but like given that and given how much equity I supposedly have in my house, we're actually like we're not okay. I don't know where all the kids are right now, and some of them are still awake, but and they don't know about this yet. But we are potentially looking to move into a house that is actually like it's about the same size as this one, but the layout is such that like we have 5 kids, and right now there's 3 of them sharing one room, and in the new house everybody would have their own room, which would be ideal because like mine are all teenagers or just about teenagers, so like they require some privacy, and so that would be great. But like it is so difficult for me with a house with massive equity to actually find another house that I am capable of buying. That should not be the case. It should be super, like, I recognize I'm in a super privileged position here. But like the fact that someone in such a privileged position as I am in, like I recognize that this is not like the reason my mortgage is so low is because my wife died. So my position of privilege is, I don't know, that's not necessarily the best way to go about obtaining privilege, but I recognize that I have privilege. And not everybody has this luxury, like the luxury of having a dead wife. God, I'm sorry. It
sounds terrible.
I know it sounds terrible, but like life insurance is the thing. But that was my main thing, is like I'm going to pay down the mortgage as much as possible,
not
because like
was given the Faustian bargain you were.
Yeah, so like my thing was like, I'm paying down the mortgage because if everything else goes tits up, at least I have a place to live. But like my point is, the fact that someone is as privileged as me can't just easily find somewhere to live other than where I am now means that like someone who is not as privileged as me, 1,000,000 times harder. So like, yeah, it's not about how many houses there are. It's about the pricing. Like my Heidi moved in with me a lot sooner than we were planning on, specifically because her rent went up, and she was paying, and like, if you compare this to cities, it's not going to sound like much, but like she was paying $1,600 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, a tiny 2-bedroom apartment.
That's too much money.
Her rent was going up by like $200 a month, at the same time as her ex just decided he was going to pay less in support, and there hadn't been any, like, they hadn't gone through the court system at that time. So like it was a combination of like, my income is going down and my rent is going up. So like I either have to find somewhere that's going to be even worse than this to live, or I could just move in with you. And it was one of those like, yep, this feels like a long-term relationship. Like, we've been joking about feeling like we've been married for 10 years after like dating for 3 months.
Well, there you go.
So
if it works, it works.
The first clip I pulled was what I consider to be the number one biggest lie of the night. So this is the biggest lie that anyone told in the debate last night.
Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak.
That was the biggest lie of the night.
Yeah, because I did hear each of them say stuff sometimes when the other was supposed to be talking.
Well, not just that. It wasn't just that they were talking out of turn. It was that like, and it not even here. So every time Trump started speaking, it would be not his turn. They would just turn his, like, you'd hear him echoing because his mic wasn't on. He's being picked up by someone else's mic. And then they would turn his mic on so that he could talk, and they'd give him like a minute or two to talk. Every single time. They never once denied him the opportunity to talk when he tried to interject. Not once. But then Harris,
let it happen.
Harris didn't try to interject that often. She tried twice. The first time they let her, but it was like kind of her turn anyway. The second time, this is what happened.
I just need to respond. The former president has said something twice that I need to respond to.
I'm sorry. We're going to move on, Vice President Harris. President Trump, this is now your third time running.
Yep. So they just railroaded her and muted her microphone and was like, yeah, back to Trump. And I saw a rundown of the time that each of them spent talking. Trump got 40% more time than Harris.
Yeah, and what he did with that 40% time,
I know
this
is kind of a give him enough rope to hang himself situation. But Harris was knocking it out of the park. She was doing phenomenal for the vast majority of the debate. It was great. So like, I would have liked to hear more from her. So like, but the fact that they would mute her mic when she's got things to say, but Trump is just like, okay, yeah, I guess we'll give you a minute every single time. And I timed it a couple times. When they were supposed to have 2 minutes, they gave Trump 20 extra seconds and didn't tell him that like it's supposed to be like a hard 2 minutes and then you get your mic cut off. But like, no, they didn't tell him it was time to cut his mic off. They didn't cut his mic off. They just let him keep going for 20 seconds longer. Harris stopped right at like 2 minutes, and I think it went to like 2:04 was the latest I saw. So like, even like not even with the interrupting, but with the actual like cutting them off when their time was up, they were much stricter with Harris than with Trump. They just let him keep on going and going and going.
There is a world, though, where that's actually a good strategy. Not only is it the hand your rope to the guy and let him hang himself. That's the obvious one. But also from the position of you needed the moderators to look. I'm not saying this was the plan, right? But from a narrative perspective, having the moderators look like they are on Trump's side more, and then Trump still completely fuck himself in the butt. Like, there's a story there.
So here's the thing. I recognize that was kind of what they were probably trying. So the cynic in me is like, no, Trump gets ratings, so they let him talk more, so they get more ratings. And I get that. The clips I pulled, most of them are Trump talking. There's a couple Harris points, but most of them are Trump. But if you put that aside of the, like, oh, maybe they're just chasing ratings and that's why they're letting Trump talk, because Harris doesn't get the ratings because she actually makes sense. If you put that aside, then what you end up with is they're trying to avoid being attacked by the right wing for obviously favoring Harris. I counted. They fact-checked Trump 4, maybe 5 times. Ben Shapiro said 4, so I'm going with his number. 4 times they fact-checked Trump. I counted 4, and then the 5th one was like a maybe, maybe not. So if Ben Shapiro's going with 4, I'm going with 4 as well.
He always knows what's
because,
right.
Like, out of an hour and a half, they fact-checked him 4 times, and they gave him so much extra time to talk. The right wing is still freaking out about how poorly moderated it was. They did such a horrible job. They were clearly favoring Harris. They're clearly on her side, not his side, even though they fucking railroaded her. And, like, what the fuck? So it's like, they are going to attack you if Trump loses the debate, no matter what you do. So you may as well just do your fucking job.
Yeah, I get that. I can see both perspectives on that. Like, the one where you don't care about the rhetoric as much when you're dealing with a conspiracy theory person, for instance, because they're going to run with whatever you say, so you might as well say it the way you intended. Like, I get that perspective of you might as well do your job because no matter how you do it, he's gonna fuck off to the races. At the same time, though, I can't help but think of the strategic value in the attempt. Like, this is tinfoil hattie. I don't know what went on behind the scenes in any way, shape, or form, but knowing that of the 2 debaters, Kamala would be able to do more with less.
Okay.
But
I'm guilty of this as well, but can we refer to her as Harris instead of Kamala? It feels really weird to be referring to the female candidate as her first name, but then Trump is always Trump.
No, that's fair. I can get that. I can entirely get that. But there is it's one of those things where, like, I want to be able to say that this was a strategy move, but I can't because I have literally zero evidence of it.
Yeah.
I recognize from a viewer perspective but then the weight that it has.
Even in the fact checking, like, when I think of the fact checking for this debate, everybody's talking about the 4 times when they told Trump he was wrong about something live. I'm thinking of the official ABC fact check that went along with the debate. That was like a written article, and it was just mind-boggling the things that they would fact check. Sorry? Oh, yeah. It was mind-boggling the things that they would fact check Harris on versus the things they would fact check Trump on. It was like Trump would just tell these crazy, ridiculous lies, and then Harris it would be something like I don't know. It was something innocuous. I forget exactly what it was, but it was like a nothing burger that, like, yeah, she got a little tiny bit of context wrong, but, like, they're not allowed to have notes with them. They have to do everything from memory. They're not allowed to consult with anyone or anything. So it's like the fact that she had a couple minor things wrong is honestly quite impressive. It's like she was able to remember more things off the top of her head than I would.
And my chat, where is it? I had it just a second ago. Where did it go? Shadow Wolf says Kamala Harris wants to be known as Kamala and not Harris, and she has been marketing herself that way.
Okay, if that's what she wants, then we'll go with it.
I would I don't want to disagree with that, but I don't know where that's coming from, because I don't.
If it's coming from her campaign, I will absolutely go with that. But for the meantime, I'm still going to be saying Harris.
Yeah, until I have something that's like, this is the exact area where she said it, or the campaign suggests. Shadow Wolf said that the Kamala HQ TikTok account would be a big example of the rebranding. Biden HQ to Kamala HQ. I'm pretty sure that it's like an official account. Could be wrong about that.
Kamala HQ. Sorry, I know the right wing purposely mispronounces her name, and I always get it. Is it Kamala or Kamala? It's Kamala. It's Kamala.
Kamala, I believe. Yeah,
because they always say Kamala. Okay.
I think it's I think it makes sense as well, because like Harris is more of a common name, whereas Kamala is a very like, this is like, you know who you're talking about when you say that. Unless I say Vice President Harris, in which case there's only one person I could possibly be referring to. Yeah. Like Trump is a name that it is very easy to identify. This is Trump. This is only Trump.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, let's get to some of the fun things. So first off, I loved that she forced him into the handshake.
Oh yeah, no, this was great.
He tried to do the thing where he pulled her in, but she like planted her feet. Like he tried to pull her, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Did you hear what they said there as well?
So she introduced herself and was like, Kamala.
Yeah, she pronounced her name the way it should have been pronounced.
Yeah. And then he was I hope you have fun.
I hope you have fun.
Hope you have fun.
Okay, sure. Sure, buddy.
It was great.
We hope you have fun too, Skipper.
And then we get to, so the guy who wants to be the leader of the free world, as you Americans like to call your president, doesn't know how tariffs work, because he said this.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world.
Yeah, so that's not how tariffs work. Mm-hmm. It's not the other countries paying the money. It is the people that are importing the thing. And usually that cost is passed on to the consumers in higher prices. So, yeah, the fact that you are up there complaining about Biden causing inflation while you are proposing a 20% tariff on everything foreign, which would increase prices across the board on everything by probably 20%, if not 20% close to it, is just ridiculous. Like the fact that he doesn't know how they work.
All of the best people at his college think that his economic plans are genius, though. And that's how can you say that when all of the best people?
So this was one of the ridiculous fact checks. Now that I think about it, this was one of the ridiculous fact checks, because Kamala Harris has been calling that a sales tax, and it's not technically a sales tax. But that is something that people understand. So she's shorthanded it to us. So they've been like, yeah, well, tariffs are not actually a sales tax. It's like, yeah, no, it's not a sales tax. But like, that was one of the things that got fact checked. And it's like, why? No, that's like, actually, okay, if you want to be realistic, it's actually worse than a sales tax, because a sales tax, like, you see the price is $4.99, then you go to the register and, oh, I have to pay $5.30 for this thing that was labeled $4.99. That's the sales tax. The tariffs, the extra cost that's in the tariffs is hidden. You don't see that. You just see a higher price. So that's a hidden tax. So it's actually worse than a sales tax.
I mean, if it's American sales tax, though, that's also a hidden tax, because it's not included in the price of anything.
No, that's what I mean. It's like, because it's not included in the price, you see that when you go to the register with the difference between what it is labeled as and what you're actually paying. So this is how much tax there was.
Okay, fair. I understand that a bit better.
That's actually, so personally, I actually kind of like the hidden tax model. Because like I've been to Europe, and like in the UK, the price of something on the store shelf is the price you pay at the register. So it's way easier to like figure out how much money I have right now and what I'm going to be able to get with that money. So like, I actually do kind of prefer that method, but every time I've talked to Americans about it, they're always like, nah, we got to know what taxes we're paying. Taxation is theft. So Like, yeah, the fact that tariffs are actually turned into a hidden tax in a lot of Americans' minds, that's worse than a sales tax. So the fact that she got fact-checked on that is kind of ridiculous. But then this was one of my favorite clips.
And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what
I'm a little bit disappointed that she didn't get to the sharks and electric boats.
Or the, oh, how sad for the birds. I mean, at least the windmills are talked about here.
Yeah.
Also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you the one thing you
nodding his head here.
Because he knows. Because he knows it's true.
And then afterwards he gets
not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to...
So what I love about this is that she flat out said to his face, you go to his rallies, he doesn't care about the American people, he only cares about himself.
Mm-hmm. And
the only thing you'll hear is him talking about himself. And his response to that, does he talk about the American people? How he can do things better for the American people? Let's find out.
Kill that bill, and successfully so. That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
So when accused of not being concerned with the American people and only being concerned with superficial nonsense like crowd sizes, his response is like, actually, I have the best crowd sizes. I've got the biggest crowd sizes in American history. My crowd sizes are the greatest. It's like, yeah, that's what she was saying. That is her point. And that was
for it, hook, line, and sinker.
That was the moment that he started getting really, really angry, and like that was the moment he kind of lost it. But actually, regarding that, it kind of pisses me off how the debate commentators after the debate take Trump seriously. Because like they were talking about his performance as though he went in there with a plan. We're like, well, Trump's plan was to talk about the issues and policy and this, that, and the other, and not get upset and not get it. And like he was going to do this and whatever. But then she got under his skin and he got upset, and so he failed to go through with his plan. But I watched the debate and it was like, this is just like every other debate Trump has done.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has not broken character. He has not done anything differently ever. This is the same as when he was debating Hillary in 2016. Hillary fucking trounced him. Hillary knocked him to his ass in the debates. And like back in 2016, I was a piece of shit. I have videos that are no longer available on my channel that like when Trump won, I kind of like I was watching a lot of Sargon of Akkad at the time, and I was like, feminist, maybe don't do blah, 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 blah. And it was like, no, I was a piece of shit. I fully acknowledge that. But as a piece of shit, I did not want Trump to win, and I recognize that Hillary beat his ass, and I was completely flabbergasted at the outcome of the election. But
the funny thing is that she did win the popular vote, though. Like, that's the thing about American politics. Yeah. It's so backward still.
Yeah, no, I was writing a tweet a while ago. Let's see if I can bring it. I've been trying to be less active on Twitter recently because Twitter is fucking toxic and I fucking hate it. And I'm trying to just like go on to collect things for Twit tweets and nothing else. What did I say? Not go back to before the debate. I'm sorry. It's boring watching me scroll Twitter when you can't actually see what I'm scrolling.
And it's dangerous to scroll Twitter where we can see everything that you're scrolling past.
Yeah, because sometimes there might just be uncensored porn. Because it's Twitter.
It used to not be that bad.
So this was this actually comes up in the debate where he lost by a whisker or whatever. So Patriot Takes posted, Trump says he lost the 2020 election by a whisker. I was told if I got 63 million, which is what I got the first time, you would win. You can't not win. And I got millions of more votes than that. And I lost by a whisker. So I retweeted that and I said, he lost by 7 million votes. That's not a whisker. That's more than twice the amount he lost by in 2016. The Electoral College is weird.
Mm-hmm. It's also, okay, so I remember that when he said he lost by a whisker, Nick Fuentes, of all people, said, started saying that, no, there's 10,000 voters that will not vote for you because you admitted we lost.
John says Twitter has uncensored porn now. Hang on, I'll be right back. They've had uncensored porn as long as I've been on there.
Time.
It's actually easier to find.
So it's gotten worse now because of the bots is the issue.
So my alt account, which is what I use to like when there's an account that's too toxic for even my main account to follow, because I follow a lot of toxic shit. I will go to my alt account and follow them there. I'll use that to circumvent blocks, whatever. And I do not post anything from my alt account. I have something like 75 followers and 90% of them are porn bots. It's like I don't know how I'm even getting these followers. I do not engage with anything. I actually, so fun fact, I can write community notes, but only from my alt account because my Vice Rhino account apparently broke the Twitter rules once. I don't know when. It won't tell me when. It won't tell me what I did wrong. I don't remember.
Maybe you shouldn't break the rules then.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe do better about that.
But yeah. Oh, yeah, there's an old CGP Grey video where 9 to 10 years ago where he works out that it's mathematically possible to win the Electoral College with 22% of the vote. We referenced that not too long ago, and I actually left a card in whatever video I ended up clipping out of that for that. It's a good video.
Yeah. So CGP Grey has a lot of really thought-provoking videos. There's that one, and then there's the one that shows that it is with first past the post voting.
Yeah.
You will always end up with a two-party system because that's just how the math works out. Which is why every person that goes, we can solve the problem with corruption in the Democratic Party if we just vote for Jill Stein.
No,
we can't.
No. You really
if
can't.
she just gets 6% of the vote, though.
Okay, but okay, all right, but okay. Back to the debate. We have to get to this next clip. It's mandatory from this debate. We can't not cover this.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Someone please tell Homer Simpson that this is happening. He needs to know.
Funny you should say that. Okay. Both of our streams might go down at this point because copyright stuff, but this is worth the risk. This is worth the risk. It's worth the risk. I did speed it up a little bit, so hopefully it won't be caught or whatever, and it's short enough that it shouldn't. But I can't not play this. It's amazing.
We're the sauce on your steak, we're the cheese in your bake.
I can't hear it on my end
at all. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets in Springfield.
Okay, you didn't hear that, but you do know what that is, though, right?
do. I know the clip.
Okay.
I know the clip. It was good to silence me because I know the clip. They're eating the dogs in Springfield.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that was Fennec says, "Give me your phone. No more internet for you." Yeah. Anyway, they did fact check him on the eating the dogs, and this I want to play it because I think it just speaks to his mindset so much.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
I heard
Again,
it on
the Springfield
TV.
city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
I saw it on TV, so it's got to be true because the people on the television.
Be real. I saw
The people on the television said so. The people on the television said so. I saw it on the television.
It was on TV. It was on TV.
I found this clip to be hilarious.
I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far.
So, does he think hiring bad people that needed to be fired later is a good thing?
Also, real quick, when he says that under me, they're allowed to write books, under no one else are they allowed to write books. It kind of makes sense that he's hanging around so many fucking dictators.
It's not that they're allowed to write books. It's more that they, if you just let them keep their job, they're not going to write a book about how bad you are. Like, I get what he was going for there, but the way that came across was, I hire incompetent people that need to be fired. And given that he said, I hire the best people, only the best people, like that just doesn't track.
It registered to me as like, in other countries, you don't write a book about a person in power after you get fired because of what'll happen to you. But I mean, I'm so gracious because it doesn't happen with me.
But I mean, speaking of firing people,
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people.
Yep.
So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
I love that line. I love it. It's just chef's kiss. It's like the gentle parenting thing. Like, Donald, are you making bad choices right now?
You got fired by a lot of people, Donnie Pooh.
Are you having big feelings? I understand you're having big feelings, but you still have to make good choices, Donald.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like she's gentle parenting him, and it's fantastic. I am totally here for that.
Man,
that's my new kink, is watching Harris gentle parent Donald Trump.
Just watching Trump get humiliated.
I mean, watching Trump get humiliated has been my kink for a long time now.
That's entirely fair.
Watching Harris gentle parent him is a new kink.
A new kink unlocked. He's having trouble processing it. Understatement of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't quite realize he got fired by that many American citizens, but here we are.
Yeah. So now this is one that I misinterpreted originally. I'm just going to play the clip, then I'll explain.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
we do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
I probably took the bullet to the head. I don't remember.
So yeah, that was the way I took that initially. Upon rewatching, it was no, I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things they were saying about me. But I still think this is worth bringing up because the reason, like, if he is actually sincere about thinking like, oh, the reason somebody shot at me is because they were saying I'm a threat to democracy,
then maybe he shouldn't say Harris is a threat to democracy.
When he says that Harris is a threat to democracy, that can be nothing other than a call to violence. Because he now believes that calling someone a threat to democracy is a call to violence, because that's what got him shot. But the way that I originally read that was he's like, oh, I probably took a bullet to the head. I don't really remember. That was how I originally heard that. And so, like, I have, through this whole thing, I've just been like, okay, Occam's razor. So, like, the most, okay, somebody said to hydrate, so I need to
hydrate, or
I
you
need
will
to do
dihydrate.
the thing.
Thank you for the hydrate as well, Sylvie.
So the way I read that originally was that And then there was a hat as well, so I'm gonna do Doggy Santa hat. So the way that I originally heard that was like I probably took a bullet to the head, and I don't remember. And so like, I have not been conspiratorially minded. I have not been like, oh well, it was staged or whatever. Like, I don't like it just makes sense that someone would want to shoot Trump. And then as it turns out, the guy that shot him didn't actually care who he was shooting at. He just wanted to shoot at someone. Like that's basically my understanding of the situation. And the
president will do, or the ex-president will do.
Yeah. So it was a crime of opportunity. But when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, maybe the blood that we saw was not from the bullet. Maybe that was from like he ducked down and like scraped something on the wooden floor of the stage that he was on or something. Like he didn't actually get shot. He just hurt himself in the process of ducking. And it's like if it was his ear, like sure, it was his ear. Ears bleed a lot without much. Like you just nick the thing, it bleeds forever because there's a lot of blood vessels there. So it wouldn't take much to produce the amount of blood that we saw. So he could have just like knocked it on the podium on the way down. And because like that was my initial read on that, was like, I probably got shot in the head.
You're just running through all the ways that could possibly make sense.
But yeah, no, it's still, Occam's razor still says that he got shot in the ear. Although like, if you look at his ear, there is zero evidence of any actual like permanent damage. So it wasn't much of a shot. But still, I've never been shot at, so I'm not going to pretend like I wouldn't shit my pants if somebody shot a gun at me and it like came so close to hitting my head that my ear got nicked. Like, that would terrify me. I would shit my pants. Fine, whatever. I'll give it to him. But the way he said that had me thinking that like he didn't actually get shot. He just hurt himself on the way down as he was ducking. And I thought that was funny. But you know, if he actually thinks that them calling him a threat to democracy is a call to violence, then he has explicitly made calls to violence against Harris. Anyway, Secular Storm Chaser for $10 said, sorry, watching from the very beginning. I want to say Harris' response to the climate change was very weak, saying we're supporting green energy, then saying we're increasing domestic oil. Yeah, I didn't really appreciate her answers on fracking or whatever. I would rather she just say that fracking is a no-no.
The thing is, she can't say fracking is a no-no. Also,
not as a presidential candidate, no.
Also, even if she weren't a presidential candidate, getting rid of fracking is not good because our medical industry relies on it. Like our medical industry relies on the plastics industry. The plastics industry relies on the fracking industry because it is the runoff from the fracking.
It sucks, but
like it is unfortunately, as of right now, the nature of the beast of how these industries have grown.
As someone who does not need to win the popular vote, I am perfectly free to say fracking fucking sucks and it should be banned. Harris is not free to say that because she wants to actually win. And honestly, like if for no other reason than keeping Donald Trump out of the White House, she should win. And I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine saying that. But yeah.
I can understand that perspective.
Even if we disagree with her. Let's see, where were we? Oh, here we go. This is another fun one.
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
What?
We're transing the illegal aliens in prison.
So
have you? Do you know where this comes from?
I don't know where this comes from, but I have a follow-up after you give me context.
I know where it comes from. First, the Morbid Place. I'm sorry. Morbid Palace cheered 40 bits. I don't think it came with a message. Oh yeah, kissy face. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, so no, the context in that, it's actually not entirely false, believe it or not. So what that comes from is in when she was a senator, she filled out a survey or whatever that was like questioning people about, one of the things was trans rights. And it's not that she said, I want to perform trans surgeries on illegal alien prisoners. It was, would you support gender affirming surgery on people that are on healthcare plans that are paid for by the government? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, that's
and people
reasonable.
That are in prison their health care is paid for by the government. And if you are an illegal immigrant who is in prison, your health care is paid for by the government. So it's a massive stretch, but it's not technically untrue.
I can kind of understand that. Now, I will say my favorite part about that statement,
are the memes?
However,
because the memes are fucking awesome.
The memes that have come out has been great. There was one moment. I know you haven't seen One Piece, and you likely will never have the time to sit down and watch One Piece.
Probably not. No.
So, spoiler alert for the Impel Down arc in One Piece. So there's a moment in One Piece where the main character Luffy has to go invade a prison to try to find his brother who's been taken by the world government. There is a character in there who in the prison who has the ability called hormone control. Their power is to turn their fingers into needles and shove them into anyone, even themselves, and inject various hormones into their body. These hormones can be a fuck ton of adrenaline, healing hormones, or most usually transgender hormones. There's a point in time where one of the prison guards tries to go against them, and that character looks at them and goes, "Oh, I know what the problem is." Shoves her fingers, the character bounces between male and female throughout the series. So shoves their fingers into that person's chest, pumps them full of female hormones, and then hands a mirror and just goes, "Okay, how do you feel about your true self?" And everybody that was posted in response to the debate, because they're like, I think this is the only transing in the prison system that we're really knowledgeable of. Is this happening?
Yeah. This is one of those things where I don't see it happening frequently enough that it would actually be a problem. It's the way Trump said it, it's this is the goal, to make every illegal immigrant a trans person for some reason. I don't even know what the purpose of that would be.
Don't know.
Hot take, prisoners deserve human rights and medical care, and gender affirming care saves lives. And even if you're a prisoner, if you've got gender dysphoria and gender affirming care is going to save your life, I'm fine with that. But yeah, the idea, the way he's phrasing that makes it sound like we're sending all the people to prison and then making them trans, and that will make them Democrats.
They're transing the prisoners like they turned the frogs gay.
Sure.
It's awful. It's horrible. My best friend Tucker Carlson told me it was real.
So somebody,
the man on the TV.
This was a fun one.
Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why the dictators love Trump. It's not because he's actually good at what he does. It's because he's so easy to manipulate. So fucking easy.
Yup. It's just, you do not want the person in power who is buddying up to Kim Jong-un and to Putin as not the person you want in power if you look at the history of what those other leaders have done.
Yeah.
Or the present of what they are currently doing. Fuck if I care.
And
the same thing.
Along the same lines.
Understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the for the benefit of personal flattery.
Yeah, so that's one of the most powerful moments of the debate, where she calls him out for being so weak that someone just saying, "Hey, I really like you, you're a strong guy," can completely change his mind and make him change policy to benefit that person.
Yep.
And Jas is saying it's a polycule between Trump, Putin, Kim, and Xi. So the thing I was trying to remember earlier, one of the things that they fact checked on Kamala Harris that really pissed me off was when she called when she said that Trump has exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-un, and they called that false because we don't actually know the contents of the letters that he exchanged with Kim Jong-un. It's like, okay, yeah, no, we don't actually know the fucking context of we don't know the exact contents of the letter, but he fucking came out and said, "Oh yeah, we like love each other, we're like lovers in a sitcom," or whatever the fuck he said. Like, he basically said they were love letters. So like, that is Trump's fucking words. Yes, they were fucking love letters. Like, even like, he admitted as much. So like, fuck off with this. We don't know the exact contents. He said they were love letters. But like, those are the kinds of fact checks that Harris got because she was actually telling the truth for most of it. And the things she got wrong were things that were like, I can understand why you got that wrong, given that you weren't allowed to have notes with you.
It was weird they weren't allowed to have notes. Like, that one is, I've never heard of a debate where you're not allowed to have notes.
Okay.
That one's kind of weird.
This is running a bit late, and we still have another news item to go to, and then some tweets. So I'm going to skip some of these quotes, but there are a couple that I want to play. They're short ones. I edited this clip slightly, just disclaimer, but I feel like it kind of captures the essence of the clip. So let's just watch this.
And I think the American people want better than that. Want better than this.
But you just pointed to all of me. Yes, that's it. Stop being all of you. Oh.
So my kids are super duper into How to Train Your Dragon right now. So when she said that, that was my thought, was Hiccup saying, "But you just gestured to all of me." It's like, yeah,
yes,
exactly. That's the point. So yeah, I had to throw that in there. And of course, we would be remiss if we did not play this clip.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
I got concepts.
I got concepts, baby. I got a concept of a plan.
Concepts, baby.
I have an idea of what I might do, maybe, possibly.
I know what
he's had 9 fucking years to come up with a replacement for Obamacare, and he's got nothing. He's got concepts of a plan. Fuck you.
I know what it might look like if I were to do my job. But that's really hard.
And they're fucking calling out Harris for not having any firm policy decisions. Like, yeah, she didn't lay out much in the debate, but like $50,000 tax credit or a tax deduction for new businesses. Are you leaving me now, Puddles? Are you leaving? $6,000 tax credit for people with a new child. And there was something else in there as well that was like a specific policy thing. And then, like, he also called them out for, like, the student loan forgiveness. They tried to get student loan forgiveness gone. And then the Supreme Court justices that he bragged about putting there to get rid of Roe versus Wade said, no, you can't do the student loan forgiveness thing. And then he was acting as though that was a Biden failure and not the people that he put in power blocking Biden's shit specifically to benefit him. What are you doing, dog? Okay. So, yeah, no, it's just a bit ridiculous. Anyway, we're still staying on the debate, and if you'll recall, I was a little bit peeved at the whole fact-checking Kamala Harris thing when she was not actually lying all that much. I mean, like, okay, to be fair, they both dodged questions. Kamala dodged questions. Trump dodged every single question. But like that's normal politics shit. And I kind of get it, and it's annoying. Also, like, this is kind of what the debate felt like.
We want a sword fight, man. Come on, I'll sword fight you, man. We'll sword fight you.
You sword fight me?
That's not actually what it felt like. I just still have that button. I felt like playing that, so
you needed us to see it.
It was fun.